Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the OVACAST.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Mm,
OVACAST.
mm.
Eventually, we'll find out official
I'm sorry.
intro. We'll figure out an official intro at some point, maybe.
Jack
Maybe.
is our co-host today.
In 2028. We'll find.
2028.
But today's episode is going to be about YouTube. Basically, all different ideas on YouTube. I think one thing we could start off with is and it's a tough one, is what was one of your first early videos of YouTube that you saw? Like one of your
Can you
first
remember
ones?
your first video you watched?
I can't remember the first one, but I do remember the very early ones.
I can remember the earliest video I can remember was the Poshmark. I don't know why I said Poshmark. Smosh, the Pokemon theme song. Remember they did that?
I think so,
The
yeah.
I want to be the very best one, and they would like. That's the first one I remember. I think they were probably like 12 years old when they did that one.
Yeah, there's a couple of the ones that remind me of like the old ones.
Yeah.
There was Rental Floss did The Legend of Zelda with lyrics. He was basically a music channel that did all these video game songs with lyrics, and Legend of Zelda with lyrics, and Legend of Zelda 2, Tetris. There was Chocolate Rain.
Oh, yeah.
The Numa Numa guy that was dancing. The Star Wars kid that crashed doing the lightsaber stuff.
Yeah. I just want to say really quickly before we go deeper into this, while people are still probably listening, is that we are not saying that we support or condone any of the people that we're talking about today. I just want to say, because we're going to be talking about the history of YouTube and our history with YouTube and how we use it or used it in the past.
Yeah.
We know nothing about any of these YouTubers now. Smosh, I don't even watch Smosh anymore. I kind of outgrew them. I just want to say that because I know that cancel culture and everything, there's a lot of people have done not great things. We know nothing.
We know nothing to this present day about what they've done or haven't done.
Yeah.
And we are not affiliated with any of them in any kind of way, or support them, or against them in any kind of way. We're taking a neutral position on these things.
Right.
One of the other early ones was Badger Mushroom. I don't know if you guys remember that from Weeble Animations. It's one of those wacky ones where it just says Badger Mushroom over and then a snake comes up. It's one of those ones that went viral a long time ago. A lot of these ones are like 15 years old or longer.
Yeah, and it's funny to me now. I will occasionally see a YouTuber that I watched back in the day. They're like, "Yeah, I've been on YouTube for 17 years." I'm like, "What?" You know what I mean? It's wild to imagine a world. You know what I mean? Where YouTube, there are people. For instance, Connor, our son, he has never known a world that did not have YouTube. That is crazy to me.
Yeah, there's so many people nowadays that even in their 15, 18, even older than that they never had a time where there wasn't a YouTube.
18, really?
I don't know.
How long has YouTube been around?
I know one of the first ones is My Day at the Zoo or something like that. That was one of the first uploaded YouTube videos. But I remember there was also Fred, the high-pitched voice Fred, and there was Annoying Orange.
Okay, there would be 18-year-olds because YouTube launched December 15th of 2005.
Wow.
So there are.
It'll be 20 years soon.
It'll be 20 years next year.
It'll be 20 years.
And see, that's what's crazy when you think about it. YouTube has almost, I graduated from high school in 2003.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now I'm going to be 40. And YouTube's going to be, 20.
And who knows the next 20 years how crazy things are going to get. It feels like I've talked with this in the previous episodes that time has gone by so quick, especially the last 4 or 5 years.
But the thing that's crazy about that too is I remember being in it though and thinking this is gonna take forever.
Yeah.
I can remember being at school and looking at the clock I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is maybe for one of those stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Videos we're talking about doing.
But we can still do that in terms of this topic if you want, like how time goes
but time
by so
is
slow
like
sometimes.
time goes by. Okay,
so
anyway.
slowly.
But it's crazy because I can remember, like I'm saying, being in school and being like, okay, I just got to get through this class and it's only 20 more minutes, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's like that was like
when
a blink.
When you're going through something, especially if it's tedious or boring or painful, the perception of time can go by so slow.
Yeah.
And there's other times where you're having a blast or having fun or you're mentally engaged in the moment, and time can go by so quick, it seems. And then looking back, especially, it seems like it's that paradox of it seems like it was almost yesterday, but at the same time, it feels like it was a lifetime ago.
I think with us, though, the part of it is because we can remember a time where there was no YouTube.
Yeah.
So it feels like, I mean, I can remember a time where there was no internet. And even now, I'm like, the internet has literally basically been out my whole life, right? Well, not my whole life. When did the internet come out? This is what I want to know now.
I was talking with Connor about this, that just in my lifetime, and we're older, but we're not that old. We're in our upper 30s. We're not like, and that's the other thing, when you're young, you're like, 30's ancient, but then you get 30 and then you're like, oh, this is not too bad.
The internet's older than me. It started in 83. But I feel like it didn't get mainstream until like the 90s.
Yeah.
That's when you started getting in like your house, I feel like.
Yeah, it is crazy the amount of changes just in our lifetime. And I was telling Connor, I only imagine when he's our age, what things will be like.
Because, see, you and I can remember a time when there was dial-up. And we had to purposely want to get on the internet.
Yeah.
And now it's like, you're just on. Like, it's just there. Like, you click on and it just, well, for most people, it's just there. Our internet goes in and out. But you know what I'm trying to say, though? It's not like, okay, I'm making this decision. Oh, I'm going to go on the internet.
Yeah.
I remember when it was like, oh, I got to make a phone call. You got to get off.
And it's tough for people who never grew up in that time to try to understand what it's like. But they'll go through a similar thing when they're in their 40s or something, where they can remember, oh, back in the old days, YouTube used to be like this, and now we have XBuddy or something, or some other weird name for some other future thing that you know.
So, I don't feel like YouTube's ever going to be like not YouTube, though.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe at some point it might, but I feel like it literally everybody uses YouTube at some point in their life. Like, everybody. I need to figure out how to change the air filter on my car. I watched YouTube. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we've had more than one situation where I'm like, I think I can fit. Or like when the electric went out in this one outlet and we were trying to figure out how to, okay, I'll look it up on YouTube. Because I feel like when you are a visual learner, which you and I are both pretty visual learner, I can do it off of instructions or like somebody tells me how to do it, but you're definitely a visual learner. Let me see somebody do it, then I can do it. Yeah, like IKEA furniture and stuff like that. And like, you know, and I feel like that's the first thing we do now is like, if I need, like for instance, I was on my iPad because I wanted to change the home screen to be more aesthetic because I'm going to use it for reading, so I wanted it to be like pink or whatever. The first thing I did was look it up on YouTube, how to change. Because I need somebody to tell me step by step how to do it, especially with technological stuff. And I'm sure that when you're going to go and you're going to build your PC, there's going to be something that you have to do. Right. That you're going to be like, how do I install, or how do I uninstall my graphics card? Or how do I install my graphics card? And you're going to go on YouTube and watch somebody do it. There's all kinds of tutorials I've already watched, and I'm probably going to end up watching more before we just have a couple more parts left to get, and then I'll be able to do the build. But I've been watching so many different ones on how to do it. And that's one of the many great things about YouTube is regardless of what your lifestyle is, what you're interested in, there's something for everybody on YouTube. No matter what, you know, what your perspective on life is, what your interests are, there's something for everybody. And I will say for the record, we do not have cable. Like
No.
the house does, but we don't in our bedroom. And we do use things like, I use, is that Roku?
Yeah, I think so.
I use I think it's a Roku TV, but I use Roku to like watch Dateline or something that's free. But we don't use, and I'll watch YouTube on the TV.
Yeah.
But that's 100% how we get anything that has to do with TV is through the internet. We don't have cable in here.
Right. I think that's the other thing too that's changed over the years is when I was younger, I used to watch full-on movies.
Yeah.
And now I watch mostly YouTube videos, and even if I watch movies or short clips of movies, because a lot of movies, if you've seen them, especially more than once or twice, it's hard to watch the whole entire movie again. A lot of movies are just where there's a couple really good scenes here and there.
Yeah.
But to watch the whole entire thing is a big endeavor, especially as you get older. Like, I could be doing this or doing that. But with YouTube, you could have these, like, bite-sized chunks. Like, okay, I can spend at least 5 or 10 minutes. I can't spend a whole 2 hours doing this. And then, ironically, sometimes you do end up spending more than 2 hours because you
can think of a great example.
It's like, and then TikTok's even more bite-sized chunks of
that's
entertainment.
What I was just gonna say, because I swear to you, we were just talking about this yesterday. TikTok, here's the thing. I know that there's a lot of like controversy about TikTok and they selling this and this and this and whatever. I really enjoy TikTok for the simple fact that there's shows that I did watch like for example, The Walking Dead. I watched the first 3 seasons of it, right? And I did like it. Like the first 3 seasons I think are probably the best seasons there were.
Yeah.
I did like it. I watched it with my friend when I lived in Indiana, and we really did enjoy it. But I don't feel like that is something that I would enjoy watching now. I'm not big on things that are really emotionally invested. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get emotionally invested in these characters, and then basically they're going to kill people off, and it just not something that
appeals to you
to me right now, right? But I can go on TikTok, and Nick has witnessed this, and I will watch a stream of 30-second clips of this show. Edits that people have made, people talking about the show, and and that's, you know what I mean? Literally, this show is like now living rent-free in my mind because I've watched, like today I was like, oh, they killed so-and-so. And Nick's like, I don't even know. Because Nick does know some of the backstory that I don't know from The Walking Dead. Because, like I said, I only watched the first 3, and, there's comics and all this other stuff. So Nick knows more than I know, and I'll be like, oh my god, I didn't know that they killed off so-and-so. And Nick will be like, oh yeah, this is how they died, or it was so stupid. A lot of it is Nick saying, yeah, this person died, and their death was so stupid. That's a lot of what Nick says.
And I don't want to say any specific deaths, just in case to not spoil it for you.
Right, that's why I'm saying so-and-so.
Yeah. But there are some of them like that in that show where you're like, where their purpose and how it happens, all the stuff for various reasons could be, in my view, very stupid. But
yeah, it's funny though because like every character I bring up, you're like, yeah, it was so stupid. Yeah, that was so stupid. I'm like, the one was.
Yeah, there's one. I think I can say this without spoiling it too much, and if you know, you know.
But if you haven't watched The Walking Dead, past season, whatever, don't...
Yeah. Because there's one character, a major death that happens where they save one person, right? And then later on, that person that they save, that they die for, basically ends up getting killed later on. So you're thinking that basically...
It was all for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think I can say that much without spoiling it too far for anyone who hasn't watched it by now.
There's certain, like, deaths on that show that I will never forgive.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. It was in season 1 or 2. It was very, very, very early.
Yeah. I think The Walking Dead was best when the first or couple seasons of showing the civilization breaking down and that how it impacts things and how once civilization breaks down, it turns into pure anarchy. And then the people who have the power are basically tyrants, and there's various groups. But after a while, it became the same cycle of, okay, there's a sociopath who's in charge of this group, and then the group struggles with that group.
There's like
and
the governor, there's Negan, there, you know what I mean? Like
there was the sanctuary, all these different places, and it was the same over and over and over and over again. And after like the governor had started, and then I think Negan was the ultimate villain, and then after that, any one after that couldn't be topped.
Right.
But that's just my opinion. But that's one of the great things about social media, whether it's YouTube or YouTube Shorts. You can watch all these clips and have commentary over it. There's one channel called Dead Meat where they reviews the kill count of various horror movies.
Oh, you love that.
Yeah, and so I'm a big fan of that creator on there. I think his name is James. I can't remember his last name, but him and his wife do a great job on that channel, and being a fan of fall and Halloween and horror movies, it's so great to see not just the movie in a short version, but also his own commentary and the background of the behind the scenes of what made certain choices and when they were filming that movie and all the different backstories that it has. But
the other thing I think I like about YouTube is like you can like, you want to review something before you buy it.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, a Kindle, an iPad, or whatever. You want a Kobo instead. You know, and it's even like versus, like, okay, you want a Google phone versus, like, when I was buying my phone, I was like, okay, do I want a spring for the Google 9? Or is the Google 8 going to be good enough? Or when I first got my Google phone, I got a 7. Do I want a spring for the 8 or is the 7 going to be, you know what I mean?
It's really helpful.
And it is very helpful when you're trying to compare. Because, especially when you're trying to compare, especially with like Kindles or major purchases, like a phone, a Kindle, a computer, whatever. Because they'll be like, okay, this is what the camera looks like. And it'll be like a side-by-side comparison.
Right.
Like the Google 8A and the Google 8 Pro. These are the compare. Do you really want to spend $300 more to get the Google Pro? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good for like consumer, like just to be able to compare.
You can make good informed decisions and see from someone who bought that product and who's knowledgeable about that. Right now, I'm going through this crazy thing of going back and forth on graphics cards because that's the most expensive part of a computer build as far as a single piece.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I want AMD. I don't want NVIDIA because NVIDIA, if you had a lot of money, it's the better graphics card, but price for performance, AMD is better. But I've been going back and forth. Should I get the RX 6600 because it's the good cheap budget one? Should I get the 7600, which is the one that you have and the pre-built that you got?
Mm-hmm.
Should I get the 7600 XT because it has more VRAM and all this? So I've been going back and forth. Should I get one of the 6000 series ones? And I've been watching all these videos trying to figure it out.
But that's what it's good for, though.
Yeah, you can figure out, make informed decisions about what product you want to buy and stuff like that from people who know about those types of products, and whether it's computer stuff or movies or furniture, or whatever, books even.
Yeah.
And it's cool that these people can make a living doing what they love to do, making these videos to help other people.
Yeah. That's like one of our biggest ones before we were doing other things was like my anxiety one where I was going through all these things of like getting your license with anxiety, going to medical school, or not medical school, but building and coding school with it, you know, all these things.
Yeah.
And those did do pretty well. Like, you know, I need to get back to doing stuff like that, but you know, they did well because it's like you can search out people that have like-minded, introverted, or you know what I mean, or social anxiety or whatever. And they like books like you, and that, you know, you can find people that have similar interests.
That's really good that you know that you have the support system of people.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, it's not just
alone.
me. Yeah, exactly. You're not alone. It's not just me that feels this way, you know. That's the plus too.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I've been trying to do is rewatch all my old YouTuber stuff. Like I've been trying to watch Markiplier from the beginning because he has over 5,000 videos. I was trying to do the math in my head of how long it would take. Because if I did one video per day, that would be 365 videos just for the whole year. And I think it would take me about watching 10 or 15 videos a day for like a year or 2 years to watch them all. Right now I'm on Dead Space 2, but I've been making it's like a mission I'm on to watch all his videos from the beginning.
Yeah.
And because it's really amazing journey from a fan perspective to see him where he started and how he went on this amazing journey of being a creator, and that his life is transformed forever. He doesn't ever have to worry about finding a job again or doing a job or living paycheck to paycheck. He does this awesome creative job that he can spend most of his time doing things he loves to do.
Right.
And so from a fan perspective, it's really cool to see that, and also how much people he's helped along the way, the charities he's done, all the charity work he's done, and how many people he's helped through Make-A-Wish and different charities that he's helped raise with streaming and stuff. And then from a creator's perspective, that's like the dream. Maybe not to be quite that big, but enough to where you can do it full time and make your living, and that's where you spend most of your time is doing something that you love to do. And so I'm trying to go back through the nostalgia journey of watching that from the beginning all over again. And it's a daunting task, though. Over 5,000 videos. I'm on Dead Space 2. I think I'm on like maybe 200 videos in or 150 videos in. And there's like 5,000. Even if you stopped uploading today,
you'd be good.
Yeah, they'd be good. And then after that, there's Jacksepticeye starting all over from the beginning too on that. And that would be another... I don't know. It's going to take years and years to do all those. There's also the first Let's Player I found was Nintendo Capri Sun, and I tried to watch his vlogs from the very beginning, starting from when he was on Jealous Guy, and I got about maybe 500, 700 videos in, and then eventually you get just burnt out, and that's not...
Yeah, it's not about the creator.
It's not about the It's not a judgment on the creator at all. There's just only so much of one thing that you can do before you get burnt out, but so far I'm doing pretty good. I've made a goal to try to watch it all the way through. And I think the best years of YouTube was probably from 2011 to 2018. It seems like it's become more business oriented and people are not having as much fun. It's become more commercialized and more corporate than it used to be. It
seems like to me too, it's been more like people that... It was back when it was like, let me do what I want, that's fun for me. Like you're saying, that's fun for me, and I'm going to make videos about it. That's when it was fun. Now it's like, I can do this as a job. And I feel like a lot of the time when you put, I'm going to do this for work into it, it makes it less fun.
Right.
Like, I can sit here and say, oh, I love to read. Reading's one of my favorite things. Okay, well, then you should read books and review them for a living.
Right.
Then you're like, you know what I mean?
And then you can kind of get pigeonholed a little bit and trapped by all these things. There's one YouTuber named Jonathan Young. He's known for doing Disney versions, like metalized versions of Disney songs. And he was talking about how a video where he was doing the Disney metal versions, but then he wanted to do anime metal versions of anime songs, and how some of his viewers would watch just the anime ones, and then some of them would just watch the Disney ones, and then his audience was split, basically.
Right.
And it was affecting his channel. And how sometimes, I think back in the day, YouTuber audience would watch a YouTuber for the YouTuber itself.
Right.
But now it's become, I don't know if it's the algorithm or what it is, but it's more about the topic than the YouTuber itself.
We know that. Yeah.
And I can relate to that a lot because I love Terraria. Terraria is the best survival crafting game I've ever played. I'm a big fan of it. And we've had all kinds of good memories to it. I still love the game, but I've been playing it 5-7 years now.
Yeah.
And it's still the majority of the content of the channel, but I'll upload something else that's not Terraria, and it might get like 1/10 of the views.
Right.
And you can eat, like, pizza's great. People love pizza, but if you eat pizza 5-7 days a week for years, you're not going to like pizza and it's as much. And it's not that pizza's bad necessarily. Right. It's just that, again, you can only do something for so long before eventually you want to do other stuff. So I try to keep a balance between, like, I'll play Valheim or Resident Evil 4, or I'll play Subnautica or something else, like a day or two of the week, and then all the rest will be Terraria. I'm still having fun with Terraria, but it's not like when I first started playing.
Where there was so many concepts that you're like, I can do all these things, you know?
Yeah, all the things you can do gets less and less as time goes on. And right now I'm doing my main series right now. I'm doing Terrarias where I'm making enemies fight each other, bosses fight each other right now. Before I had one where I would boost up weapons damage to crazy amounts and fight bosses with that, and that was a big series I had going on there for a while. But yeah, it's tough. There's like another example is like FNAF creators like
Right.
Daco. Like imagine if Daco one day Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out and he wants to play Grand Theft Auto 6. It's going to be tough because a lot of his viewer base is based on Five Nights at Freddy's.
I don't feel like it's just that, though. Like, just video game people. I know that's the majority of what you watch, but...
Yeah, but any category in YouTube, like if you were making knitting videos and all of a sudden you want to change it up to like a cooking channel.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like sometimes you can do that well. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can, like, revert. You know what I mean? Like, go forward. I'm just going to say, for instance, we were doing vlogging, right?
Right.
And we reverted over to doing reactions.
Right.
Without getting really into it, just on the surface level.
Yeah.
We reverted forward to doing reactions. And we did well in that transition. Right?
Right.
That transition did well, and the reactions did really well.
Yeah.
And then we tried to revert back because it was one of those situations where, not necessarily you, but I hated it now.
Yeah.
I made it a job. I made something that was enjoyable, which is basically just gossiping, and just having a group of people that I gossiped with was enjoyable to me, and I made it a job, and I didn't like it anymore. And then we tried to revert back to doing vlogging, which we've done, but it's, I was getting over 1,000 views, and now I'm getting maybe 60 on a vlog, which is great. I'm grateful for the 60 views and the people that have stuck around and still watch.
Right.
But it's like, it's hard when you're successful in one thing.
Right.
To go back and be like, okay, I don't want to do that anymore because it literally is giving me mental health problems.
Right. It was really tough.
It was really bad emotionally and
when you're
mentally, and it was awful.
When you're dealing with negativity like that, where nobody wins and it's just a bad situation, and it's tough to be around that all the time.
And I don't want to make it sound like I was dealing with negativity because I was doing reactions. We were dealing with negativity before we started doing the reactions.
Right.
Just on our relationship period,
yeah.
People didn't like. Because I'm more outspoken than you are, or whatever. You know what I mean? We were dealing with that before we did the reactions. It's just... And I am aware that when you're putting negative things out on the internet, you're going to get negative things in return. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, it got to a point where I was like, I can't handle what's coming my way, so I'm not going to keep dishing it out. And I said, forget it,
Right. And that's the other tough part, is if you want to be a YouTuber really bad and it's your dream, what limits are there to where you wouldn't want to do that anymore? And I think sometimes it's tough because sometimes the things that make you more successful are the things that you would hate to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to make a choice. Okay, do I do this and I have better chances of success, or do I not do this and I'm mentally happier for it? And luckily not everybody on YouTube has to make that choice, but sometimes whether you're pigeonholed into making the same content over and over and over again, or whether you do content that you don't like anymore and you want to change it, but you know that you'll get maybe 1/10 of the views if you do that, sometimes you have to make a difficult decision like that.
Yeah.
And then again, once again, they're not there for you, they're there for the topic.
Right.
And that can be tough, because even someone as charismatic as Jonathan Young, he's got a great personality, but you would think most of his viewers, regardless of what content he makes, would be there, but that's not always the case. Even if you do have a lot of charisma, and if you have that great personality, sometimes even then it doesn't work, where it's
Right.
very dependent on the topic and the content that you're doing. But that's one of the tough things about being a YouTube creator. And I think back in the old days, when it was 2011 to 2018, it was just more, people seemed to enjoy it a
It
lot
was
better.
more fun and less like, but I feel like less people had it as a job.
Right.
It's when you start saying, I'm going to do this for work.
Yeah. And it's become more saturated over time, and there's been various controversies that have narrowed the frame of what you can do. The adpocalypse happened, the
Right.
Coppola thing happened, a bunch of other stuff along the way. There's more than one adpocalypse that happened, but basically a series of things that make it more narrow and narrow and narrow. And then the algorithm is kind of tough to figure out sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of things at one time. And sometimes even creators who have made it, you see them and they're not happy like you thought they were. Like, I remember starting from 2012 to 2018 watching Jacksepticeye and seeing him make all these videos. And one of my favorite series he did was Cluster Truck. And it again, similar to Markiplier, it was cool to see him on this journey of, like, his life is transformed for the better, in such a big positive way. But then he made a video saying he might retire and that he's been dealing with mental health issues and he's been depressed. And
Yeah.
even if you strike out big, it doesn't guarantee happiness and that you'll be in a good mental place. And that's kind of, you feel sad for him, but also it's just a sad situation in general. And then there's the parasocial element of you're a big fan of these YouTubers and you care about them and you want them to be happy.
Right.
Too. That can go into being YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, we just had that recently happen with that book lady that I follow.
Yeah,
I follow and watch this woman. She does like cozy mysteries and Harlequin romance stuff, and she needed a heart transplant, and she's been in the hospital for like, oh my gosh, probably like 2, maybe 3 months. And I was like, wow. And I mean, I've probably been watching her for like 4 years, 3 or 4 years. And I was like, oh, like, wow, but you don't realize how, until she made a video and she's like, yeah, I'm getting a heart tomorrow. And then she had an update for like 5 or 6 days. And I was like literally messaging Nick, I hope she's okay. Because it's like, you care about these people. Like, this is, it's your entertainment, but also it's like, you value their opinion on books or video games or whatever. Because I feel like with you, like, if Jacksepticeye or Markiplier came out and was like, this video game is awful, like, I don't like it, you would be less likely to play it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like, with her, like, if she was like, this book is great, you should read it, I'd be more likely to read it. If she was like, this book isn't very good, I'd be like, man, maybe I'll just hold off on reading it. Because you, like, value their opinion of things. And it was like with her, I value her opinion on things, but I also value her just being around to be entertainment.
As a human being.
Yeah.
And it's sad to see them, whether they're going through a major health thing, whether it's mental health or physical health. And it might sound stupid to some people, but when Jacksepticeye made that video, I cried because I had so many different mixed emotions at the same time. Like, he's made it, and he's still, and all these times I thought in the videos he seemed to be really happy and high energetic and just excited and having the time of his life recording these things, but maybe behind the scenes things happened that you don't see. And maybe the fact that he was depressed, and part of it was what happened with his father, and that there were these really mean trolls that really said and did awful things.
Right.
And then there's other people that said over the years that, oh, you're too happy, you're too excited, you're too this, you're too that. And then all these
it builds up.
It builds up. It wears you down. It can wear you down.
I can remember when you and I were doing things like because we vlogged and did reactions at the same time. I did reactions. You were in a few of them, but we did at the same time. And I can remember there being times when, like, we would change the way we were acting because, like, oh, well, if I say something like this, or if I talk over you, or if I, you know what I mean, then somebody's going to say something. So I can see, like, how I don't know, like how you would change the way you act just so that people aren't gonna, you think people won't say something. It never works, but you think like, okay, well, they don't want me to act like this, so I'm going to do this instead, and this will make them happy and they won't say these things. Well, that never works that way.
Right. And it's a type of thing where part of me was sad and crying because all those trolls and all those people who were trying to bring him down,
they won.
They won to some extent. And I just felt bad that this YouTuber I was following for so long, and I thought he was so happy, and maybe there was moments where he was, but that there was the darkness of the world got to him to a certain degree. And it's tough to see when you care about someone, even if it's on a parasocial level, where that was part of why I was crying, but also just the idea that I told Michelle I'm going to miss him.
Yeah.
And might sound stupid to people who don't understand or don't feel that way, but it's true that I've spent like so many hours watching his videos and kind of living vicariously through that energy, and that felt like he was having the time of his life being a YouTuber, and it was amazing. He was really living through those times and having such a great time of, oh my God, I've got all these subscribers and all these milestones, and my life is transformed for the better for the rest of my life, and I can do what I love to do now. I have all this free time to do the things that I love to do, and I get to help all these people and make the world a better place through all these charities, and help all these people and make people's lives a little bit better and all that. And a lot of that is true, but there was that dark side too of he was suffering in some ways throughout that whole, and that's tough to see.
And that's sad, especially when you make it into the way you make money.
Yeah.
Because there's this part of you that's like, okay, this is how I make money, so I have to keep doing this because this is the only way that I can make money. You know, but it's like, for instance, Amber Lynn, for instance, we've talked about this before. Like, the only way, although, you know, the only way she could make money is if she does something outrageous. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, how far are we going to take this until something bad happens?
Right. And that's one of the tough things about being a YouTube celebrity, even if you make it pretty big, versus being like an A-list celebrity where you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, and as long as you live within your means,
you're good.
You won't have to work a job ever again your whole life, and you can just, even if some controversy happens where you get canceled or something like that, you at least know your life, you can survive and live and be okay. Even if you're going through it mentally tough, financially you'll be okay. But whereas being a YouTube one, maybe if you make a couple million, it's still a bit of a struggle. But then if you can't go back to doing normal work again because you'll get just ridiculed.
Yeah.
I know there was this one celebrity who was working at Trader Joe's, and there's no shame in working your job.
Oh, yeah,
I can't remember who his name was, but people took pictures of him and were like, can you believe so-and-so works at Trader Joe's and all this stuff, and people will be just completely heartless and mean.
Yeah.
And that's one of the tough things about...
Who was that?
I can't remember the actor's name, but he's not a YouTuber, but I'm saying someone in that kind of position where you haven't made so much money that you don't ever have to work a job again, but you're well known enough where people will give you ridicule if you do work a normal job, and there's no shame in putting food on the table.
Geoffrey Owens.
Yeah, there's no shame in putting food on the table and working in any kind of job, really. But that is one of the tough parts, yeah. Another thing about the parasocial thing, before I move on to that, I am so glad that I got caught up in other stuff.
It's okay.
But I'm so glad that book lady is okay.
I know,
she made it through. I was praying. I really was. And,
yeah, we both were.
And I'm so glad she's so far she's okay and she's doing well and everything. And I hope from here she has a long, full, and happy life. And
I'm trying to figure out what show he was in. He was on the Cosby Show.
But it's one of the parasocial things is there's so many YouTube channels that all of a sudden fall off. And you don't know
what happened.
And you don't know why. There's so many ones. One of the early ones was called Moogle for the Win, and I watched Elder Scrolls Oblivion, that was one of the first early Let's Players I watched along with Nintendo Capri Sun, and it's like all of a sudden he stopped recording videos, and a lot of times they won't make a video of saying, "Oh, went to college and I can't make any more videos because of this," or I have some type of explanation. And there's a debate back and forth with the parasocial thing. Does the YouTuber owe it to their audience to explain, "Okay, I'm not going to be here anymore because of this, and thank you for watching me all this time," and or does the YouTuber not owe anything?
I feel like it doesn't even need to be that long of a thing, though. You can just make a community post that says, "I'm retiring." Done.
Yeah.
2 words. You know what I mean? Because other than that, without that, things that... And I'm not blaming her in the least because she had heart transplant surgery. But I'm just saying, if you don't do that, things like that do affect other people.
Right.
Regardless of how you feel like I don't owe them anything, it does affect other people.
Right.
You know?
That's the weird thing about the parasocial aspect of YouTube or social media.
Yeah, and I feel like you're right. You don't owe anybody anything. If you want to drop off the face of the earth, then okay, I guess. But it's like, I don't know. I'm one of those people. I'm always like, what if you want to come back though? And all these people are already mad because you ditched us once. You know what I mean? Right.
And there's some cases where a YouTuber actually does pass away. There was a Zelda theorist called Vortexy Gaming, and I used to watch a lot of her theories. And then one day she stopped uploading, and then luckily someone and her family or friends or something notified everybody of what happened. But if they hadn't, you don't know. Yeah. And it's sad to see channels like that. Sometimes there's channels, whether for whatever reason, whether they passed away or whether they decided to leave because it wasn't worth their time versus what they were getting back, or for whatever reason they just decided to go. And you think this channel could have made it big. This channel could have been one of those big ones that really helped a lot of people and really made a difference. But now we'll never know.
Right.
There's thousands upon thousands of channels on YouTube that you come across, and they might have like 1 million views on a video, and then on a couple videos.
I mean, she passed away, but Life by Jen, for instance.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, she passed away, and it was like all of a sudden she just wasn't uploading, and then somebody found her online obituary. They never posted on there again. Nobody ever posted on her channel again. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, you know, because she was one of those ones that was like friendly with her subscribers.
Yeah.
I mean, she had her demons, we all do, but she was friendly with her subscribers, and you would have thought that her fiance would have, like, because he was on the channel too, but nobody said anything. One day, it was just like, oh.
And that was sad.
That was crazy. That was
really, we felt so sad on that day, because we were hoping she was going to turn around.
Because she lost a lot of weight, and she was in the hospital, but she was trying. And that was the one thing with her, is like I always felt like she was always trying. She wasn't perfect either. Nobody in that corner of the internet is perfect. That's for sure. But I felt like she was the one that was gonna... Because we have had conversations like that of the 3, her, Amberlyn, and the other one.
Yeah.
Who was gonna, who actually was trying. And I think she was our number 1.
Yeah.
I always felt like she was actually trying. She had a lot of fallback, but
it's sad when stuff like that happens. I'm trying to think of any other YouTubers that have passed away that was really sad. There are some that I'm just forgetting, and I don't mean.
I'm sure there's ones that are major in other corners of the internet that you and I don't follow because we're not interested in that topic.
Yeah.
But
there is a dark side to almost everything in life, and there's definitely a dark side to YouTube of things like that can happen.
There's been a lot of controversies, a lot of cancellations recently, I feel like.
Yeah. Like I said, there's so many adpocalypses that have happened. And then a new challenge also is the AI generation stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's Sora and Midjourney and all these different ones and a lot of people are debating on that. One of the prompts when I upload a video now is this AI generated content. And that's a whole other thing that YouTubers have to deal with now, especially as it gets more sophisticated. And sometimes people will point to a video like one of the early ones of Will Smith eating a thing of spaghetti and it all looks all strange and bizarre. And I tell people this is the starting point. This is where it starts.
Yeah.
And it might look wonky and all messed up and strange right now, but so did TVs at the beginning. You had black and white TVs, and you look from that point to now, it's a complete massive difference. And the same is this is the worst it's ever going to be.
Right.
And it's only going to get better from here, more sophisticated from here.
Right.
And who knows with the potential exponential growth of where it can end up. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. You don't even know what's real anymore.
But yeah, that's why I think 2011 to 2018 is the best years of YouTube, and it's not now as necessarily really bad, but it's not as good as the YouTube creators don't seem to be enjoying making the videos as much as they used to.
And I feel like a lot of it too, though, is like the creators, they not only are they not having as much fun, they're very vocal about the fact that they're not having fun.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the ones that I watch are very like, it's constantly, and I'm not invalidating the way they feel or anything like that, but it's constantly, oh, I'm depressed, I'm having mental health problems. It's like, they're constantly not happy. You know what I'm trying to say? It feels like to me, like it's constantly there's something wrong.
Yeah. And I can think of a couple other channels. Like there's the Skelegrim was one of them. I'm hoping I'm saying the name right, but he's basically covering swords and stuff and medieval stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how with the algorithm and how it can just change randomly, that all the stuff that it's tough as a creator to do.
Yeah. Because
you might have a winning formula for so long, and then bam, out of nowhere, for whatever reason, it just changes. And even if everything is winning at the time, you can be, like I said, pigeonholed into doing the same type of content. And though even if you don't get burnt out, sometimes even the users can get burnt out. The audience can on that one thing. It can be tough to do.
Yeah.
Where do you think YouTube could go from here?
I mean, wherever it wants. I mean, here's the thing: it's all dependent on the creators, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I don't know. Where do you think it could go from here?
I see all kinds of different directions you could go. I could see AI is a big thing, a big concern in a lot of different fields and a lot of different reasons, whether it's automation, all different kinds of things. I could see where AI could eventually take over as far as there'll be more YouTubers, but there won't be as big of a budget to run productions.
Right.
Like you could potentially make full-on movies just from a prompt alone. Eventually, the technology could be that good. Like you could put a prompt in, okay, I want a movie inspired by Godfather and Star Wars, and make this weird space opera gangster movie.
Right.
Like that type of thing where you could make a full-on movie with very little input. And in some kind of ways, it's kind of like modding on a video game. Like you could have Skyrim, the base game, but then you have Skyrim where you could change the dragons and Thomas the Tank Engines, or My Little Pony replace the horses.
Right.
Or all these different kind of variations depending on what the user wants to do, and you can have all these different type of YouTube videos that are wildly different based on AI creations. I think AI could replace a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers, but also a lot of YouTubers, rather than being on the camera itself, could just use the AI tool to make all these different things.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It could get complex really fast. But who knows? The future is tough to predict. People sometimes get it right, sometimes get it wrong. Sometimes they over or under guess how things are going to be.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, yeah.
I don't know. I just think that I hope it sticks around for a while, because this is my only form of entertainment, like I was saying. This is the only form of entertainment that we have.
Yeah, like I said, I don't watch movies hardly that much at all, and then if I do watch movies, it's usually clips on YouTube. or on TikTok, or
That's what I do. I do TikTok.
I'm not into Twitch as much as I used to be. I used to
No,
watch stuff
yeah.
on Twitch.
I'll even watch a Twitch re-upload on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm not really big. The only live things I watch, like on YouTube, I'll watch Dateline Live because it's the same one that runs on the TV. Like, and that's basically for noise, you know, while I'm doing something. But I don't really watch live anything because I would rather it be done and then we're gonna get to the end. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to see the whole thing as a one continuous.
Rather than watch it.
Rather than wait and then, now we're pausing because I have to go to the bathroom and now we're sitting here listening to nothing. You know what I'm trying to say? And I would rather just be able to be like, okay, skip forward on that part or whatever.
Another thing that kind of relates to YouTube, but kind of not, is people were saying back in the old days that we'd have this big cable bill and you would have to pay all this much money. Then Netflix came out, and Netflix was great for quite a while.
Right.
But then they started raising their prices a lot, and then there's all this Hulu Plus and Disney Plus and all these other.
And the part that pisses me off about that is that I want to watch Yellowstone, which I've never watched because I refuse to pay for another freaking service. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like Netflix has every show. It's like, oh, well, if you want to watch Yellowstone, you have to watch on this show. Oh, if you want to watch The Walking Dead, you know, the Book of Carol or whatever it's called, you got to watch it over here on this service. Oh, you want to watch The Walking Dead, Negan and Maggie or whatever that one's called, Dead City or whatever. Oh, that's over here on Hulu. Like, nothing is on the same. You get what I'm trying to say? You have to buy like 6 different services to watch all the shows.
Yeah, and then by the end of it, once you've paid for all that, it's basically the same price that you paid for cable way back when cable was just the only option you had.
Right, but now there's stuff that's not even on cable anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's exclusively on Paramount Plus, or exclusively on Hulu, or exclusively on Amazon Prime.
Or Disney Plus, too.
Like that one show that you were talking about wanting to watch. That's exclusively on Amazon Prime.
That's the Markiplier new show called The Edge of Sleep.
The Edge of Sleep, yeah.
Which is really cool because, like I was saying before, that the cool thing, one of the many great things about YouTube was it was about the people. It was about you. It was you in YouTube, not CorpTube. Right. And that the fact that Markiplier is one of the top shows on Amazon Prime is when there's these massive studios up at the same level, and the fact that one man and a team of people behind him can do this amazing thing where he's in the top 10 along with the team he's working with.
That's crazy.
And it's really cool. So it'd be cool to watch with you, maybe.
Yeah, because we do have Amazon Prime, but...
Yeah.
But the only reason I have that is because I buy things off of there. But I'm just saying, it's like... Okay, you want to watch that, but let's say you also want to watch...
something else that's not...
Something on Netflix.
There's no one thing you can pay for everything.
Right.
There's no... And then the prices have gone up crazy, too. So where YouTube is pretty much the main source of entertainment, because aside from paying for internet, it's free.
Because we don't pay for YouTube Premium or whatever it's called. And we don't pay for Netflix. I mean, my mom pays for Netflix because that's like her prime way that she watches TV is off of Netflix. So like we do have it, but we just don't use it that much. We used to watch on there, but yeah, our prime thing is anything you can get on the internet that you don't have to pay an additional fee for. That's what we watch. You know, whether it's Twitch or YouTube or TikTok or whatever, that's how we entertain ourselves. We wouldn't even pay for a game. We're playing that game because it's not pay to win. Like,
yeah, there was Royal Match.
Yeah.
We're not sponsored.
Not sponsored, but if you've never played, it is not play to win. Pay to win, I'm sorry. It is play, but it's not pay to win. Like I've gotten up to level 120 or something without spending any money.
Yeah, it's definitely, it has elements of pay to win if you really wanted to, but it's not pay to win heavy like some games are.
I mean, you might have to play a level like 10, 11 times, but you are going to pass it eventually.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, everything has become, okay, well, you want this, you got to pay extra.
And some people are saying that started with Elder Scrolls Oblivion. With there was this thing with DLC where you could get this horse armor. You could pay a little bit extra to get this horse armor, and they said that's where the whole pay to win DLC charging got crazy. That's the start of it from there.
Yeah.
And then from there, there's whole games that are free at first, and then you get your time invested into it. There was one called Arch Hero where I was playing for so long.
Yeah, I remember.
But it got to the point where it was so much of a grind, I would have to spend 2 hours a day sometimes doing that, and it's just not worth it to me anymore.
That's even like, you know me, I love my Kindles. I read a lot of what I read. I either read physically or on my Kindle, whether it's in the Kindle app on my iPad or on an actual Kindle. People were mad because you pay $170, let's say, for a Paperwhite Kindle. Okay? You pay $170 and then it's like, oh, it has ads on it. If you don't want the ads on it, that's another $20. And people are saying, that's like, you already paid $170 for this thing. Now, granted, I got the signature edition, so I didn't have to pay to get my ads removed. But it's, I traded things in, so mine was cheaper. But it is a $200. $200.
Wow.
I mean,
my voice cracked for some reason.
Nick's like, how much did you pay? No. But I traded in 2 Kindles to get it.
Yeah.
But it is a $200 device. Just so I don't have to have ads. And it has wireless charging. But that's besides the point. But you know what I mean? It's just, that is crazy that you have to pay $20 more because you don't want ads. And here's the thing is, before, people would get on Amazon and they'd be like, well, I'm getting ads that are of naked men on the cover of books, and my child sees it. And Amazon, this is back when you had to talk to customer service, they'd be like, oh, one-time courtesy. Well, so many people did that now it's automated, and you have to pay. They do not give you an option to not pay. So the people that were actually getting them like secondhand or whatever, and they're like, I didn't know there was going to be ads. I paid for this. That legitimate reasons why they wouldn't want to pay the $20 have to pay it now, because so many people abuse the system that now Amazon's like, well, it's automated, so you just have to go through the automated thing.
That reminds me of that Chase Bank glitch thing too. Which is a whole other can of worms for another episode, because we're almost near the end. But
I'll never forget that time I was trying to get... Remember, I had a Fire 7, like you have.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get those ads off that thing, remember?
Yeah.
I bought it with ads, and I was like, I'm going to pay. I paid. I will pay to take the ads off, because I didn't realize they were video ads on those sometimes.
Yeah.
I paid, you guys. I paid the $20. And I remember the ads would not come off. They had to send me a new one. It was like, I really don't want this Friskies ad paying every time I turn my tablet on. But it's just like, you pay all this money for things that I don't understand why they would have ads on them. Like, I've already...
Yeah. Sometimes it'll be that way, too.
Like, my iPad's never had an ad. Like, could you imagine if a phone, every time you make a phone call...
It had to have an ad.
It had an ad on it, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, every time I open the phone, it's like, oh, before you make this phone call.
You could be making an emergency. Like, imagine the satire that you could do with in a movie where you're about to make a call, an emergency call, and then it has an ad playing, and then...
Well, let's talk about that fruit game we played, that we really liked that game, and it would say, oh, you need to take a break, and pay like this 30-second ad. We stopped playing it.
Right.
Because it's like, I understand, like, maybe when I first click on the game, there being an ad, and maybe like, 10, 15 minutes in, there's an ad.
Right. Pirate Software did a short clip on this on the YouTube Shorts about how he respects a company if they do this thing where, like, a fairy comes across the screen and you click it, and you'd be like, if you want 800 gold, you can watch this ad. And then if you say no, well, then
you don't have to watch it.
Right. And that's the only type of ad that he respects Otherwise, I'll uninstall it, because at least you're having a dialogue with the creator. Like, okay, you can help make me money, but you'll get something in return for it, and you make a choice.
Right, because with that game,
when it's
Fruit
forced,
Merge or whatever it's called,
it's forced upon you.
A lot of those free games are like that, though, where you're like, I have to literally... the other one's not like that. Is Best Fiends. That one doesn't really have that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it does have ads, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, because you've watched them to get, like, stuff.
Yeah.
It does have ads, but, like, Royal Match has no ads.
Right, no
like,
ads.
There's no ads. There's no get extra gold and to watch this ad. Like, none of that.
Yeah.
Is there?
Not that I've seen.
Not that I've noticed. I mean, there might be. Or, like, I have games that I play on Facebook. Like, I'll play Bingo or I'll play whatever. There's something called Hospital Frenzy that's kind of like Diner Dash, but it's a hospital. And it'll say, like you're talking about, oh, you can double your coins on this level if you watch this ad. And I can say no thank you, and then it lets you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that's when
anyway.
ads are the best. When you get something in return for it, and you have the option of saying no.
Because that's the thing with that fruit game, is you don't get anything for it, but you got to sit there through literally really long ads.
time.
And it's mid-game. It's not you've lost, here's an ad. Like,
Yeah.
I can understand that, too. Oh, you lost this round.
Yeah.
And then you have to watch an ad before you can start a new round. This is like mid-game.
Yeah. It was so frustrating we stopped playing.
Yeah.
But
I think we're good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way to sum up everything that we've talked about with
YouTube is awesome. If you want to start a channel, you should do it. But I think that you should do something that you enjoy. And don't push yourself too hard. Because I've been doing vlogs for the last couple months. I do one vlog a week. And it's like perfect. Because I can sit down and do a sit-down video if I don't have a lot of energy that week. Or I can do a weekly vlog like I did this week. And I think you should do it. In the podcast, we do it every other week. And we actually are still at the point where we're like, okay, well, I feel like doing a podcast today. Let's do it. Because there's somewhere within the 2 weeks that we feel like sitting down and talking. Because it's low pressure.
Yeah, it's low pressure, yeah. I think...
Try to find yourself something you can do that's going to be low pressure.
And sustainable, and something that you like to do.
And remember, you're going to have to edit. Because that's the worst part sometimes, is having to edit the video. You love doing it. But I would rather just do vlogs that I could just paste together.
Yeah, sometimes I'll edit, sometimes I'll straight upload. It depends, like, depending on how much time constraints I have. Like, it depends on that and the type of video. Some videos need more editing than others, but I try to enjoy it, the process, even though it can be tedious at times.
Because even with my vlogs, I edit in an intro and an outro. But these ones, we just straight upload.
Yeah.
Nick will usually listen them over once, maybe like partial of the way through.
Just to make sure, yeah, when we do a test beforehand to make sure, okay, everything's working all right. But yeah, find something, do something that you really like to do, and try to treat it like a hobby. Don't expect too much. Just enjoy what you do. And it can be tough sometimes. Like I said, sometimes you can get pigeonholed into doing something, and it's a tough balance between enjoying what you do and then what's gonna get views too at the same time. And I try to find the good balance between, okay, I'm gonna make this content, most of this channel is this content,
right?
But then I have every now and then I can do this and that to sustain myself, to find the right balance between I'd love to do this, but also, you have more chances of it becoming your job one day. Would be awesome.
Right.
But I still try to look at it, even if I'm 80 and I just never become a full-time YouTuber, I look at it as a fun hobby.
Right.
And
exactly.
it would be great to do it full-time and be at home with you and make money and be at home and not have and enjoy the work that I do and have a blast recording and doing all that. That would be great to do. But I don't want it to get in the way of the fun of it, of having...
Because here's the thing. Like we were talking about... we're going so off on another tangent now. But this is going to be the last thought.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I'm talking about. If I really wanted to make money doing YouTube, I would have kept doing what I was doing, whether I was happy or not doing it. But you gotta put your mental health first. Period.
Right.
End of conversation. Put your mental health first.
And if you're not having fun doing it, then that goes against the goal, because you if you're not going to have fun doing it, you might as well just work a normal job.
Yeah.
If you're not going to enjoy
Find a
what
work
you do.
from home job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everybody,
Thank
for
you
watching.
for watching.
I hope you have a good day.
Bye, guys.